What's going on, guys? I'm back again with the next video. I've been MIA, just trying to figure out what we need to do to get to the next level of this supercharger build. And the fourth gens, unfortunately, have been having fueling issues with how small the injectors are. They're smaller than the third gen injectors, so it requires the fuel pressure needs to be a lot higher to get the same amount of fuel in, since the the injectors are smaller, and the stock pump is just not enough to get the pressure we need to maintain the right air fuel ratio at once we're flowing a lot of air. So I looked around, looked into Fab9, saw what they did with the ND2, and I wasn't sure about the pump, if it would fit or not, but I decided to get it anyways. And another friend of mine, Garrett, ordered it too. And when we took the pump out, we realized the pumps were different. So it was back to square one, but I knew what the pump looked like now from the in-tank fuel pump that I needed to replace. So I started doing research, and I realized that the pumps in the Toyotas are the same as in the Mazdas, but obviously I would need to find the right year of Toyota / Lexus to get the pump that would work in the car. So I just started Google searching, using eBay, and eventually I found a pump that has the same connections, but it's slightly bigger. So I have to modify it. It's not like a plug and play, just drop in pump like the Fab9 pump. So I found the pump. It's slightly longer, and there's some cutting that you need to do, and then you also need to get a clamp to keep the pump in place because of this modification. The pump is a lot bigger. The pump that we got, it is used to fuel the LC500 and the RCF V8. So they're 5-liter motors, and our motors are 2.5 liters. So it's meant to flow a motor that's half or double the size. And I mean, obviously we're forced induction, so we are flowing a little bit more air, but definitely not double. Like those cars are making plus 500 horsepower to the wheels. So that being said, I'm going to walk you through the fourth gens. You can get these pumps for the LC500 for $30 used, brand new from like websites. They're about $150. And the third gens, they don't even need a fuel pump upgrade, but if they wanted to, they could do the Fab9 pump, which is $70, which is pretty cheap. Our pump is cheaper, but also with these fourth gens, you need a fuel pump tool, a fuel pump wrench to get the lock ring off. So we have a lock ring around the fuel pump, and even though our pump is only $30, you got to go spend $20 for a lock ring. And then if you don't have the 1/2-inch ratchet and a breaker bar, you got to get that. So it still comes out to about $70 if you have to buy all that from scratch, versus the $70 drop-in pump that you can get for third gens. And so that Fab9 pump will work on CX3s, CX5s, Mazda3, NDs 1 and 2, and all the 3s until you get to the fourth gen. Once you get to fourth gen, so like the turbo fourth gen and the regular fourth gen, they both use this new style pump. So we're gonna go ahead and get this pump installed. I'm gonna try to do it within 1 hour. Luckily, 2 other people have installed this before me. Garrett was the first one. Me and him kind of walked through it together and figured it out together, since he was building his car back up. And Paul, he's another one who did it. Neither one of them had issues yet, but right now we're still trying to work on the best fuel pressure for it. So after I get it in, I'll be able to give Ralph direct feedback. Ralph, whatever you want to pronounce it. So we're going to be able to give him direct feedback on what needs to be changed for the fourth gens. Third gens, you guys are set. The only issue now with the third gens is you guys, you're not having fueling issues. The superchargers are actually able to push more power than our vehicle could actually handle. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and install a pump now, and hopefully I get this done in less than an hour. I'm going to go ahead and show you what you need to install it, and we're going to knock it out real quick. All right. I just got some basic tools here. This is the pump ring wrench that you can get off of Amazon for 20 bucks. I'll probably end up passing this around to all the other 4th gens. We'll just play musical chairs with this thing. And then you need a 1/2-inch drive to adapt to it, right? And then obviously these guys were saying it's very hard to get off, so you need a breaker bar. So what I'm going to end up doing is trying to, let me see if this works. I haven't even tried it yet. Try to stuff this into the end of here. That won't work. So I'm just gonna have to be very strong. Actually, it might fit in there if I don't know. Maybe I can fit it on this end, something. We'll figure it out. But either way, I'm strong enough. I should be able to get it off. So you're gonna need the 1/2-inch drive or breaker bar, and then you're gonna need a clamp to put around the fuel pump to keep it secure. Since it is a longer fuel pump, you're gonna have to use this because the clamp that goes on the bottom of the pump, it won't seat all the way down, so you have to use this to keep it in place, right? So I have a smaller one, probably won't use it. And then obviously my little kit, so I can just remove the screws off the plate. But other than that, I have a pick here. Maybe I'll need this for the fuel lines. We're gonna just go ahead and get into it, and then later on in another video I'll explain. This is the actual high pressure fuel pump that comes off of this motor. Is actually from this car. I broke it trying to do some experiments. So guys, I've been really focusing on trying to get us better fueling, and I did something to this that didn't work. Another guy from the ND community with a supercharger was telling me about doing this mod. He hadn't tried it, so I figured I'd try it first, and ruined a $500 fuel pump. And I have messed with fuel pumps before, so I recently moved, so I found some other parts. This is the high pressure fuel pump internals from my Audi, and I'll show you in another video how the high pressure fuel pump works. But it's pretty much, there's a mechanical pump, and there's a piston in here that goes up and down, and it's almost the same design as this one. So I'll be able to give you like the rundown on how this high pressure fuel pump works, because I've dealt with this in the past and built my motor. So this is the stock one from my other Audi. And another thing we had in the Audi is the cam followers, which goes on the high pressure fuel pump on the end of it to protect the cam lobe from wear. And then there was like actually a service bulletin where we had to keep replacing these, and they did it under warranty. So we'll go over that in another video, but today we're just focusing on getting our LC500/RCF V8 fuel pump in here. So on the 4th gens, the first thing you're gonna need to do, I already undid it, but you're gonna have to go under the seat, and there's a little lever here and a lever on that side. That is how you release the seats. This little lever, you just pull that out and it'll pop up in the seat. And our fuel pump, there's like 2 of these panels, but the fuel pump is gonna be on the driver's side. So I'm gonna go ahead and start unscrewing this, and we're gonna get to the pump, guys. Hopefully get this done really quick. All right, guys, there's the fuel pump. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the wires, take off all this plastic stuff, and then we'll try to get that lock ring off. So I had to phone a friend. Paul's right now helping me out. He was the second one to install it. So to get this ring off, you need to pry up right here under this little tab. So there's this little ridge right here. You'll see there's a little cutout right here. You need to pry up under there, and then pull out this first little locking ring. And then we got to get to this black locking ring, which you'll need that tool for it. But yeah, just right here, you're gonna have to pry up on that, and this ring comes up. And then, then you'll have the lock ring underneath it, which is the hard one. So, let me see what Paul says. So we're just trying to get this fuel line off, and then we'll be able to take the pump out. All right, guys, got the pump out. We'll go over the other stuff later on how I got it off. But the first thing I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna remove this lock ring right here. Be very careful not to lose this lock ring. So I'm gonna do it indoors, not out here where I'm gonna drop it in a crack. So I'm gonna remove that lock ring, and then I'm gonna pop this off. So I'll leave the camera open while I do this, and then I have my Dremel tool here, which I'm gonna use to cut the bracket, and then I have a clamp, and there's the pump. All right, so let's go ahead and prop this open up. All right, remove the clip. Very small, probably need needle nose, but should be fine with that. Got that off. Leave that right here. Now that allows this to come out. But I'm gonna go ahead and pop some of this other stuff off. I probably should have brought my tools. All right, let me go ahead and figure this out. So that's out. This comes out. All right, I don't really need to worry about this. All I need to do is put these clips on the side. That's one. There's the other. And then this should come right out. Let me see if there's something else I need to undo. And there's something right here. There's 3 little clips. There's that. Now I just need to remove the pump, so just gotta pop these clips off. And then I'm gonna cut this bracket. So there's a bracket right here that I have to split with my Dremel tool, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Yeah, just do like the smallest cut you can do.
Time to cut. I should be wearing iPro. But it's plastic.
Okay, bro.
I already snapped it off, so it's all good. Snapped off. I'm trying to make this YouTube video right now while I'm doing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that back on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh wait, so I gotta take the wires out of here. Popped it out.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all popped out. So now I just gotta swap this over. Gotta pull this plug out. Bam.
You're excited,
Yeah, I'm gonna use the same ring, O-ring. I'm not gonna use my new one.
Okay.
Use that same one that comes with it.
If it doesn't line up properly, you could like break it. So I'll just put it on first. I broke the first one that way. You can kind of force the bits in there, or you just don't get done. You know.
Nah, I know the hole at.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's about to slide right on up in there. Watch. Oh, went in there so easy. All right, so that's in there. Clamp down all the way. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add a clamp around it. I think the one I got is a little too big, but we're gonna see if it works. Guys, we're gonna just do a quick recap on the low pressure fuel pump installation. I didn't get everything on video just because I was trying to do it on a Saturday, but it happened to be my birthday weekend and family wanted to, you know, go and get lunch. So I was crunched for time. I wish I'd have just had the whole day to myself. So, I mean, my birthday was the next day, but either way. So the pump installation is honestly very easy if you have the right tools. I didn't have two small like screwdrivers or picks, I only had one. So once I got one of them open, I had to use another like flathead screwdriver to keep it open. But you have to be very careful with those tabs. Paul almost had a heart attack when he thought I was going to break one. But the tabs needs to be released outwards on the fuel line that's on top of the in-tank fuel pump. So you have to go under the green and pry them open, but you don't have to go pretty hard, but you just have to pry them open enough to where it can release over the white line that comes from the intake fuel pump, right? So I didn't get a lot of stuff on video, but I did end up using a breaker bar. I had like a a wrench for my tire iron wrench, and I put it on the end and I was able to free it. Don't be scared to use excessive force because you won't break it. I'm telling you, that thing is strong. And also I lost the retaining ring that goes on the pump where you put the spring at. So that slowed down my process, and that's why I couldn't get the whole video recorded, because I just wanted to get the car back together before I went to my birthday lunch. So I did end up losing this little tiny retaining or this E-clip, whatever you want to call it, this clip that goes on the end of the spring on the top of that in that fuel pump. You'll see it in the video when I took it off. So I lost that, but luckily I don't need it to install. But I know if I do go open that intake fuel pump, the spring's gonna come shooting out, and hopefully it doesn't fall into the tank. Yeah, so be careful with that. The Fab9 kit for the third gens, they come with an extra clip, the little retaining clip right there, and they come with literally everything. They'll come with an extra O-ring, the other thing that goes on here to keep it sealed. So if you get the Fab9 kit, everything is in there complete. You'll have extra parts, so don't worry about messing up anything. Also, so like this is my stock fourth gen pump. The third gen one is not like this, so you cannot use the LC500 pumps on the third gens, guys. So if you have a third gen, the best upgrade that I seen available is the Fab9 pump. It's not as strong as my LC500 pump, but third gens don't even need the extra fueling like we do. So their AFRs are a lot better. I mean, it's still pretty close, but you guys are definitely a little bit more safe. And like I said, you can order the pump from Fab9. You don't need a sorry about that interruption. I had to get a phone call. So yeah, like I was saying, third gens don't need that the wrench, the fuel pump wrench, the lock tool, so to get it undone. Also, like third gen, you don't need to cut any brackets because your pump is the same size as your Fab9 pump is the same size as your stock pump. They're roughly the same size as this pump as well. That's on the fourth gen. But like I said, that LC500 pump for the V8, it's longer, so we have to make modifications to that. And as far as putting the car back together, I left that white plastic ring off just because it's Paul told me I didn't need it. Also, when you do go to start your car, what I would suggest doing is since the car, obviously there's no fuel in the little intake container. You need to get fuel into there and into the engine. So what I would suggest doing is priming your fuel pump. All right. So the way you prime your fuel pump to get fuel up to the high pressure fuel pump and your rail up there is just put the car into accessory mode. So what I would suggest doing is double clicking on your start button without starting the car. Do that 3 to 4 times, maybe 5 times, just to be safe. That way there's enough pressure in there, and then we go to start the car, it should start on the first try if you primed it enough. And then with that being said, when you also go to take off the pump, I didn't do it because I did mine when it was cold. I did a cold like disassembly, so the car was really cold from the night before. When you disconnect that line, there will be fuel everywhere. So have some rags or whatever around you to catch the fuel as you release that line off the top of that in-tank fuel pump. All right. Paul told me what you could do is you could also pull the fuse for the fuel pump and let the car die. I didn't really want to do all that. So, and I know it would take longer to get fuel back into the rail. So instead of doing that, I'd rather go the safe route and just cover the line up and then pull it off and let the little fuel come out, because it won't be too pressurized in the morning like it would if you'd be running it all day and then releasing it. So like I said, there's multiple methods you can do to pull a fuel pump fuse, and while the car is running, just let it die. But I didn't want to do that. I just literally just undid the line. So guys, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, in a later video, I'll explain more in depth why I, did the fuel pump, like the low pressure fuel pump. And it's because there's not many options for us. We can't get injectors. I tried to modify my original stock high pressure fuel pump. That didn't work out because these fuel pumps can't be disassembled like they could on my Volkswagen Audi. So these pumps are pretty much all the same on most of the Skyactivs. The turbo has their rail valve on the actual high pressure fuel pump, but all the other ones are just like this. So what I'm looking into now is if guys need more fueling, and it's mainly at the higher RPMs with the smaller injectors. If guys need more fueling, I'm looking at possibly, I don't know yet, getting another exhaust cam made, but with a different cam lobe profile. Since these high pressure fuel pumps are mechanical, the cam lobe size determines the stroke of the piston that's in here. So I'll go over all that in another video, but this is both the stock low pressure fuel pump and high pressure fuel pump for my car. So guys, yeah, if you install this pump, you will notice it's going to be really smooth, and it's highly recommended for Fort Gens, regardless if you're going to do the standard pulley or the upgraded smaller pulley. But if you do the smaller pulley, this is like a must. I would not take the risk of running that smaller pulley without enough fuel, because you'll go lean, blow up your motor. We've seen it happen. All right, so that's it, guys. And what I'm going to be doing now, I got to ship off that fuel pump wrench to another guy, because apparently they're like out of stock on Amazon. So we're just going to pass it around, play musical chairs with this thing. So that's it, guys.